starting a business and growing a business.
Yeah.
And they are different because
Yeah.
both of them have fear involved. Hiring your first employee is fear-based. Ranked top 0.5% intelligence-wise. So I was accepted to Harvard University,
Wow.
but I decided to go to another Ivy League school called Dartmouth College. And unfortunately, I graduated what I tell people with a degree in fraternity and with a minor in drinking. So
Yep.
Within about 2 to 3 years of graduating, I went into the corporate world, was in corporate sales with a company called Kodak. And then I relapsed and I was to spend the next 20 years homeless on the streets in the United States, many cities. I'm also a 3-time convicted felon. So I've spent many years behind bars. My father shot my mom 6 times. Okay?
Holy.
So I dealt with that. That was my father. Okay? And had to deal with that situation and him being in prison for years. And I forgave him. And again, I say I have no resentment.
Welcome to The Business Game, a podcast that moves the needle. Before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. Welcome to today's episode of The Business Game. I am your host, Jamie, and I'm with Dan.
Hello, everyone.
And today we have Ken Miller from Denali FSP. How are you, Ken?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
So, Ken, why don't you give us a brief overview of who you are, what you do, and what some of our listeners can gain from this conversation as we go into questions and delve into your history?
Sure. Let me give you a little background on me as a person. That'll give you a little understanding of what I offer. It's not even offer, what I speak to.
Mm-hmm.
So again, my name is Ken Miller. I have 5 businesses at this point in my journey. I've started businesses, so it's about 2014. But before I got there, I probably have to bring you up to date. So real quickly, I was born as a foster child. I was put up for adoption at birth. I did foster homes for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was adopted by Irene and Sam Miller. I grew up in the state of New York in the United States. And then I moved over to Alaska. So I grew up in the great state of Alaska.
Okay.
At age 17, I was what they would call in the United States a National Merit Scholar. I was ranked like top 0.5% intelligence-wise. So I was accepted to Harvard University.
Wow.
But I decided to go to another Ivy League school called Dartmouth College.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Dartmouth in Hanover, New Hampshire. And unfortunately, I graduated what I tell people with a degree in fraternity and with a minor in drinking. So
Yep.
Within about 2 to 3 years of graduating, I went into the corporate world, was in corporate sales with a company called Kodak.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are familiar with 3M Corporation. And then I relapsed and I was to spend the next 20 years homeless on the streets in the United States, many cities. I'm also a 3-time convicted felon. So I've spent many years behind bars.
Mm-hmm.
But the key component is in 2004, I was arrested for the last time. I did 3 years in the penitentiary. And then I got out with no skills, literally no skills, let alone in the corporate world, let alone business world. But I was very, very fortunate that I entered a field which is called fundraising or development, working with NGOs and helping them in their fundraising or, acquiring. That was my first business. I started that in 2014. And since then I've acquired and or have started 4 other businesses. But that brings me up to where I'm at today. And a lot of times I speak all over the country. I'm also an author. And I talk about resilience. And I talk about some of the business practices that make an individual a great leader, that can grow his company and or start companies, because I started as a solopreneur, but now I have employees and contractors.
Mm-hmm.
And just been, as people would say, I'm very successful, but in the way of I'm successful as a person. And so I talk about the whole person, even though we may be spending most of the conversation maybe talking about business.
Yeah. Okay. So let's so for our listeners, this is a different type of guest that we've got on with you, Ken, because you have a story, I guess, that has taken you through some trials and tribulations to get you to the point that you're at.
Sure.
And through those lessons, I guess you can help other business leaders and whatnot elevate themselves through the lessons and the hard lessons that you've learnt along the way. So what would you say? So you've got obviously a lot of resilience and you've had a lot of personal development as well. So from that, I guess in a nutshell, and then we can go deeper into it, what would have been the number one thing that you learned about yourself that other people can apply to themselves that has helped you in your business career?
The answer is there. That's the number one thing I learned.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is there. If you're willing to put in the time, the effort, and I'm a big one on this, the counsel, the answer is within you. And so individuals that are listening, male, female, whatever your background is, the answer is there. And you just need to avail yourself of the answer. But before you even get to the answer, what are the questions that you're asking? Because you have to ask the right questions before you can speak. Because if you're asking the wrong questions, you may get answers, but it will not allow you to achieve the prize or achieve the goal or the aspiration that you have for your business. So number one, I'm a big believer that answers or the solution is a better word is intrinsic to the individual, but it has to be released. And a lot of time that takes counsel, takes study, and it takes work.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how to approach this, and you,
All right.
please feel free, to go off on a tangent and speak about something else. How did you that initial decline after college? How did that happen? Why did that happen? Can you explain that, or it's
Sure.
not explainable?
No, this is I don't know. I can say it's a beautiful thing about my experience with my past. I can explain all the antecedents to my behavior and actions.
Okay.
All. Because I've taken time to look at them. And a lot of people do not. They just want to get it over with, or just glad they're not in active addiction or whatever their setback is. But I've looked at all of them and I understand why I did what I did, and I did it. And so the predominant thing is that almost everyone is exposed to alcohol and drugs at an age, usually teenage or early 20s. Yeah. So we get exposed. There are those that have a genetic predisposition to becoming alcoholics. If you take certain drugs, your chances of becoming addicted to those drugs are very high. If you have emotional situations in your life that cause you a lot of emotional pain, drugs work. Drugs work. Let me say that again. Drugs work. Because all a drug does, every drug, is it changes your perception of reality. And so drugs work for me. I had a lot of emotional pain due to issues of my childhood and issues of my early adulthood that the drugs themselves mask that. But that's not a solution to the pain. The solution is working through the issues that I have and then getting to the other side without using a chemical to dull and or take me away from that reality.
So when you did have that initial decline and you did go through something that most of us maybe would never experience, who was there for you? Who was your support networks, or did you have support networks?
Yes, I had a mother that had unconditional love for me, period. Unconditional love. I caused her a lot of pain, a lot of heartache. That is the nature of that disease. And that I had others, and I probably had others, but what happens is once you truly get into your addiction or alcoholism, you push away people. Because to touch me was to probably have emotional pain, to watch me fall apart, watch me lose. Remember, I was at the top. I was at the top of quote unquote my game to be 22, 23 years old, making $50,000 a year, which was a lot of money in 1985.
Yeah.
I look good. I smell good. I talk good.
Yeah.
And I'm an Ivy League graduate. I'm 6'2". I've modeled. I mean, I just had a lot going for me.
Yeah.
And then to throw all that away due to the addiction it hurts others that love you. So we know that. I had other individuals who were friends, colleagues, associates that had concern for me and reached out. But again, I want to push them away because I know to touch me or to deal with me is going to cause you difficulty at some point because I'm going to lie, cheat, steal, prevaricate, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of that disease.
So, I'm sorry to.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Oh,
What was the point where you said, right out, something sort of changed? When did you make the decision to turn your life around?
I know that 100%. So I just finished writing a book called Becoming Kin, and I talk about that. It's a lot of times we call it the pivot moment. I had really two of them early. The first one was September 22nd, 2004, when I was arrested for selling a $10 rock of crack cocaine, and I was going to prison. And I was smiling and crying at the same time when I was arrested. And I remember the policeman looked at me and said, "Why are you crying?" Because I'm bawling.
Yeah.
And he thought something was wrong. And I said, "Because I'm going to live. Because I can do prison. I can do prison. But I can't do me on the streets with access to drugs." Okay.
Yeah.
So that was number one. And then about a month in, I had a spiritual conversation with God. I was laying on the bunk on Unit 13 at Park Boulevard, which is a jail before I go to prison. And I had a conversation with God. And the conversation was this, and I paraphrase it very simply was, "I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll walk with you. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. I'm not going to say it's going to be without pain or discomfort, but we can get to the other side." Remember I talked about that intrinsic?
Yeah.
Who do you listen? Who do you take counsel for? I had that. And ever since I'm coming up on 21 years now, I've been clean and sober in 21 years, but there was a lot of growth that had to happen over especially the first 5 to 6 years, emotional and ways that I dealt with life outside of the drugs and alcohol.
How did you find when you'd come to this mentality that you were right, I'm getting clean, I'm progressing forward with life, with a better life for me. When you got back out of jail and prison, did you find that temptation was there for you, and what did you use to overcome that? Or had you just absolutely, within that conversation with God, that was your mind made up and that temptation didn't matter if it was in front of you?
Yeah, since that day, about a month in, it would have been October of 2004, I have not chosen nor really wanted to use. The temptations are there. You just going to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't put myself, I used to tell people, I'll go into a bar. Remember, I didn't get out for 3 years, so I didn't have access to a lot of chemicals, which was great.
Yeah.
Okay? Once I get out after 3 years, I'll go out to a restaurant or whatever. But I would tell people, I'm not going into a crack house.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
To even be around that type of atmosphere or to bring back those memories of my drug of choice.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, the temptations are always there. But this is the main thing. I have a habit of not using. And nor would I, let me put it this way. I'd say this to everyone. And I've spoken about this. I speak on the stage about this. What I've taken away is, this is the way I understand me. There's no way that I can use any type of alcohol or a drug volitionally without pain on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing.
Yeah.
And also there is no it used to be at some point where there could be some emotional trigger event that would put me in enough emotional pain that the drug would become a viable alternative to that reality of that emotional pain. I've lost two mothers because I had an adoptive and a biological, and I know both of them. I've met both of them. And I lost my wife. They died.
Yeah.
And I've walked through those, all three of those, with grace, to be honest with you, with grace and without picking up. That is, and that is, I have so much gratitude to be able to say that and do that.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, that is certainly a test. Losing your most beloved is, 3 times, as you said, is most certainly a test.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So from this point, what then inspired you to build Denali FSP?
That's a great question. First of all, I wasn't inspired to do it. I was asked to do it.
Okay.
So the largest foundation in Alaska asked me if I would become a consultant and coach. They said that they thought that I was the best fundraiser in the state. I was good. I'm not saying I was the best, but they thought I was the best. And they wanted to know if they supported me and, gave me a book of business or some startup capital, would I become a coach and help out other nonprofits in Alaska?
Right.
And it still took me 9 months to do it. And anyone who's listening to this, I don't know what your origin story is, but many times there's fear. In fact, that's one of the largest impediments of anyone doing two things: starting a business and growing a business.
Yeah.
And they are different because there's both of them have fear involved. Hiring your first employee is fear-based. Starting off as a solopreneur is fear-based. And it's usually financial. There's two things. People always talk about the financial fear. Okay, I have an income coming in from my job. At that time, and I just name numbers, I was making $80,000 US at that time. And I said, all I need is to replace 3 months. Give me 25,000 and I'll build my own business because I know I can. Okay.
Yeah.
That's one fear. And it still took me 8 or 9 months. But the other big fear is that I'm not competent enough to be successful as a business owner or solopreneur or entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm not competent enough to grow the business. And we can maybe touch on that more. But those are the two main fears that I see.
So what was your first position after prison? What was your first job after prison?
My first, so I came out of prison not having worked like in the corporate world for 20 years. And I've always told people I've been in sales my whole life, legal and illegal, but I've always been in sales.
Yeah.
And I was good in sales. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to tell you what I sold, but I sold a lot of things. So I get out and I could not find a job. 3-time convicted felon. And the economy was, the great financial crisis of 2007, 2008. And so all I could get was a part-time job in a warehouse with my Ivy League education.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't even give me more than 30 hours because then they would have to do benefits, making $7 an hour. Okay. And so it was tough, but I had a mindset that was really, really, and this is good. Another one for the business person. I knew what my expenses were. I knew what my debt was. And I made a commitment to pay my debt before any fund. Okay. Any fund. I used to give myself one meal outside of, what my groceries were on payday. We got paid every 2 weeks. I'd get a $7 burrito. That was awesome. Still will miss that burrito. Mexican food, $7 burrito. And that was the only, literally, and every other extra dollar went to paying off my debt, which was, I got out of prison with like $1,800, which was unfathomable. that amount.
Yeah.
I don't even want to tell you what 1,800 means to me today.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean.
So you in that position, you found yourself.
Right.
You started getting to fundraising. Is that the way you transitioned from that job to fundraising on the side, or
No. So this is another interesting. So I'm working in the warehouse, and then I meet my wife to be, my second wife, and she lives in Anchorage, Alaska. I was in Reno, Nevada. So I move up to Anchorage. And the beautiful thing about Alaska is they're so hurting, or so they need good people so badly. They don't care what your background is. They don't care. 3-time convicted felon, we'll give you a shot. You
Yeah.
can do the job. So I got a white collar job
Mm-hmm.
working in a conference center in management, and did well. And then uh, I had an injury playing basketball, which I shouldn't have done. And so it laid me up for like 2 to 3 months because I was in a boot. I couldn't drive and I couldn't do my job at the conference center. So I got a job as a fundraiser, called a development director for a soup kitchen, which I was
Okay.
very familiar with, having been homeless for 20
Yeah.
years. Fell in love with the job. Fell in love with the job. And so started that. And then I grew that to 4 people within my team, started off by myself, and had to learn management and leadership, which I did learn because, again, there wasn't much leadership in the penitentiary or on the street. So I had to learn a lot. But
Yeah.
I learned fast, and I have mentors.
just with the mentors, can you tell us about your mentors? Who are the ones that pushed you to take that next step?
Mhm. So mentoring is one of the most important components of my world, is mentoring. So I mentor. I've been mentoring for 15 years. I have a group called the Pass It On group. I've mentored probably over 60 men, and I mentor young Black men. That's
Mm-hmm.
of my choice because I know the dearth of good Black male mentor role model for these young men. Okay. But to start off, I had 2 mentors, really 3 mentors. And those are very successful businessmen within Anchorage, Alaska. And then I started mentoring, and then we have a 4th generation of Black men mentoring. So there's 4 generations within my mentor tree, as I would call it. And I am very, very explicit about mentoring. In fact, I'm going to be writing a book on it later on this year, but I teach it from the stage. I teach
Mm-hmm.
on mentoring, coaching, and workplace sponsorship. So I've been blessed to have a great mentor. Fortunately, really 2 of them have passed away because, again, they're a generation ahead of me,
Yeah.
and but they've left a legacy with me on the lessons I've learned from them.
And you spoke about the fear of taking that leap, starting a business.
Mhm.
I've been involved in a few startups now, and some of them I've been the solopreneur.
Mhm.
Scary stuff. It's finding your feet, not knowing what you're doing. You're so worried about failure.
Mhm.
Can you elaborate a little bit more about
Oh,
how it
for sure.
affected you and what you did to overcome those fears and take a leap and make it happen?
So much of it comes down to self-talk because I'm getting external communication to me that I am valuable, that I have a value added to the community, the fundraiser, or what we call the philanthropic community. So people are telling me this all the time. You're good, Ken. Done this, da, da, da. But it doesn't matter. What more important is what I say to myself.
Mm.
And what I say to myself, Ken, you just got out of prison 5 years ago. Ken, you're a 3-time convicted felon. Ken, you're an ex-drug addict. Ken, you are boom, boom, boom. Stuff that takes away my value. Or the question we say to ourselves all if they really knew me, they would say these nice things.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a self-esteem issue. So self-esteem, and teach on self-esteem. It's one of my favorite subjects of all time. Just did a 3-month book study on self-esteem. Self-esteem has two components. One is what we call efficacy of self, which is, am I competent to life? Am I competent, we can say, to business, whatever. And then, am I worthy of love? Those are the two aspects of your self-estimation of your competency and worth, as in being worthy of love. So we come into starting a business, especially as a solopreneur, and we question two things. We question, do I have the competency to effectively run a business or market the business or work with the clients, whatever? Okay, that's a technical aspect of it. But then the other aspect of it is will I succeed? And if I fail, will this be a justification of that low self-value? Okay, well, because again, what am I going to have congruence with? What is the alignment? Is the alignment of the positive, or is it the alignment of that negative self-talk that's within me? You know, we talk about it in the United States, and I'm so sort of tired of hearing about this thing called the imposter syndrome, okay? Where we believe, and I'm not a big one on cliches or memes. I'm a big one on thinking deeply about a subject and then be able to articulate it. Don't use a cliche, because that's just an excuse for lazy thinking. That's just me talking.
It's almost like a lot of people that have that sort of mentality, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like I'm not good enough for this, and then therefore that they make it so they're not good enough for this, and that they will almost fail at it, opposed to the people that do feel like they've got that imposter syndrome. So I guess there's two sides to that as well.
There can be, and it's so interesting because we're talking about business, but really the best representation is your relationships with others.
Yeah.
Whoever you choose as a partner is a reflection of your self-esteem. It is probably the greatest reflection. And there are individuals that go into relationships, and we don't have to go too much into relationship, but they will self-sabotage the relationship with someone that is really good and would be a good valuing partner to you.
Yeah.
But you don't feel you're worthy of that partner. So I'm not also worthy of that success within the business. So I'm not going to do the marketing. I'm not going to put the effort out. And then I can go back and tell myself, told you so.
Exactly.
You couldn't do this.
Yep. Yeah. There's a real psychology behind it all, isn't there?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. It's interesting because, and I feel, I don't know, like Dan, I don't know about you, but like, there's certainly been times in my career where I'm like, how did I get here? I don't deserve to be here. Like,
definitely. I still think that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is easy to feel down on yourself, but I think it's super important, and something that you've obviously managed to do and train yourself to do a lot, Ken, is reflect back on the things that you have done well, the achievements you have made, no matter how small they may be, and to continue growing on that. And that is what I guess is propelling a lot of people forward. And whilst they feel like it's this imposter syndrome and whatnot, it isn't. It's the hard work and the reflection that you've put in that has got you to where you are. I mean, there's definitely a situation where luck is on your side and stuff like that. Like it'd be, you're in denial if you don't think that also can play a part. But yeah, I think just that clearly you have managed to get to a point where you reflect on what you do and then use that reflection to propel you forward into the next part of your life or your business or your mentoring to other younger Black men or women, in how they can then propel themselves forward. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say?
Ken, it sounds like you're a type of man, a type of inspiration that gives a business person more confidence, or not more confidence, but builds confidence in people
Yeah.
and gives them reassurance that they can do it and they can succeed.
Yeah. I mean, as a coach or as a mentor.
Yeah.
So just a real quick one on the difference between a coach and a mentor.
Mhm.
Mentoring is free, 100%. It's free.
Yep.
So I tell people who say, yeah, I mentor and, I charge them. No, you're not mentoring, you're coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Coaching is usually very specific to a desired um, aspiration or desired state of being or state of the business. I want to grow a revenue 1 million, whatever it may be. You're coaching and it's usually tactical.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in mentoring, I'm working with whole person and it's also open-ended. Almost all coaching is a finite period. You'll contract with me for a year, 3 months, whatever it may be, or we'll just do one meeting, which is rare. But it's really difficult to coach. The other thing is that in mentoring, I do most of the talking.
Yeah.
I do because I have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I have the experience. I do. And when I tell the young men that I work with, and when I say young, it goes anywhere from 20 to 55.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm 62. So I don't want people thinking they're all like
Younger than
teenagers.
yourself. Yeah.
But in the coaching, a lot of the times the individual is explaining what is their situation. Because everything I do, and I want to make sure people hear this, everything I do is grounded in truth. It's grounded in truth. That is my fundamental core, is what is truth. Now you have an opportunity to lay it all out. Let's talk about it so we can identify the problem that we're trying to solve for. And then what I do is I break it down and I tell everybody I work with, what is a problem? What is a problem? Let me ask you, what is a problem? Either one of you, give me a definition of what is a problem.
To me, it's something that a problem to me is something where I have to spend time working out a solution, where I don't know, where I can't just do it quick. Then it becomes a problem where I've got to invest time to find a solution to something that isn't already top of mind. Because for me, time is a massive thing. I cram a lot into, my working day or whatever it may be. So a problem to me is I don't have enough time. So if I've got to invest brain power to find a solution that I can't get in the snap of a fingers, that becomes a problem to me. I don't know about you, Dan.
So let me ask you this question. Is 2 + 2 a problem?
Well, in regards to arithmetic, yes, but no, because I know the answer.
But that isn't a problem.
No.
Because a problem is a set of circumstances that seeks a solution. So 2 + 2 is a statement. 2 + 2 equals it's seeking a solution is a problem. Okay?
Yeah.
A 2 + 2, there used to be a car called a 2 + 2. It's like, and because it had 2 seats up front, 2 seats in the back. It's a statement. 2 + 2 is a statement. And I'm not trying to trick anyone. I'm just saying this is little ways how I think. I do a lot of Socratic, do a lot of sentence completions, and we do a lot of definition when I'm working with, whether I'm coaching or mentoring, that I'm working with individuals. But again, going back to the mentoring, I do that for free because in the end, so when I mentor, I say the first time I meet with a gentleman, and I only work with men, and the first time I meet with a gentleman, I say to them, hey, I'm glad this is going to be an explicit mentoring. I am the mentor. You are the mentee. And this is not in a negative sense. They understand. They're asking me. They always ask me. And then I say this. I have one purpose. One purpose. And my purpose is to engender your dreams. What are your dreams? Or what is your dream? And then I shut up. And I also say this to every man I work with. I give you permission to dream.
Yeah.
I give permission because there have been family members, mothers, fathers, school teachers, principals, whatever, say, you can't have that dream. You can't dream that. can't do that. And we internalize that. And I tell them, I give you permission to dream. Then I shut up. Then I have said, go ahead.
Sorry, are you mentoring business people or anyone?
Oh, yeah.
And
business people.
Do they seek you or do you seek them?
For mentoring, they seek me always.
Okay.
I don't have enough capacity because it's free. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you numbers because I'm not afraid of my truth. Not afraid. So my take home pay is $700,000 US a year. That's what I make approximately. That's my business do over $1 million, but I take home about 700,000. Okay. If I do hourly, it's $300 an hour. That's my hourly fee. If I speak, the minimum I'll speak is 2,500 plus travel and room and board. Okay. I've been very successful. I'm blessed on that. That's fine. But I give my hours to my mentees for free.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the individuals that come to me, they're getting free. And again, my thing is to, as a whole person, because a lot of times they come to me with a business question, concern, and they want me to mentor them as businessmen. But 95% of them, we end up talking about relationships, marriage, spiritual. I do whole person mentoring. It's called whole person. And I tell them sometimes I'm not a counselor, but I have a lot of lived experience.
Yeah.
And this is the most important thing that you hear from me. I am very, very comfortable in my own skin. Very comfortable. I have no resentments toward any living or dead human being. None. I have very little, if not any, fear. As I speak to you right this moment, I have no fear. There's no fear in my life.
Hey, business game players, are you ready to level up your business? We are thrilled to announce our partnership with HubSpot, the ultimate all-in-one CRM platform. HubSpot helps you streamline marketing, sales, and customer service with powerful tools to grow your business faster. From lead generation to automation, it's got you covered. Visit HubSpot through our link below in the captions or visit our website, thebusinessgamepodcast.com, to start for free and supercharge your success. Now, back to the game. So, Ken, what's your dream?
What's my dream?
Yeah.
I'm living it.
You're living your dream?
Yeah. My dream is to sit across another man, they happen to be black, and to have him cry because his dream came true. It took him, with my assistance, 6 years, but it happened. The dream was engendered. And to watch another man reach his dream, my dreams. I was telling my wife today, we were coming, I said, sweetie, there's nothing I want to buy. There's nothing I want to buy. And I'm not a toy person, but there's nothing I want to buy. There's no clothes I want to buy.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm so comfortable in my own skin. I'm in a polo shirt. I got Hickey Freeman suits. I got Allen Edmond wingtip shoes. I got silk ties and braces, which are really suspenders. All that stuff.
Yeah.
But they're really braces. Suspenders hold up socks. Braces hold up stamps. A lot of people don't know that. But I know clothes, okay? I used to work at Nordstrom. But anyway, I've had all my...
Yeah,
no problem.
Amazing. And I'm in awe of you at the moment. Can you share a success story with a mentor-mentee relationship?
Sure. I'd love to. I'd love
to just put
when people ever ask that question,
put a caveat on it. A business person as well.
Right. So I had a gentleman, when I first met him, I love stories. So I met this gentleman. I was at the gym, and I saw this young man, looked like Hispanic, and he was in the sauna. And I'm like, what? You in the sauna? You know, because you're like a teenager, and this is like a men's gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, he said, I have a competition. And I thought he was a wrestler, and he had to lose weight. And so I saw him that day. Then the next day I see him again. And I said, well, your competition coming up? How'd you wait? And he said, oh, it's going good. He said, yeah, I'll be boxing tomorrow or this weekend. And I said, oh, you're a boxer. He said, yeah, I'm a part of Alaska Boxing Academy. And my coach is here. And I said, well, can I meet your coach? And so I meet the coach, and I'll never forget. I go to him. I say very simply, I said, what are you doing? He said, well, I have this nonprofit, and we're getting ready to take some of the fighters. I work with at-risk youth, teaching them the art and science of boxing. I was on the U.S. Olympic boxing team. I was the alternate heavyweight at the Beijing Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, wow. And I said to him, didn't ask me, I said, can I give you some money to take you guys to the Golden Globes? Because you have to get on the plane. And he said, if you'd like to. I said, sure. So I gave him a few dollars. It was nice. I gave him some money. And I said, when you get back, let's talk. And so we sat down and I said, this is what I do. And I don't know and he's a boxer. So his background is somewhat, you can almost say rough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, what's your dream? And he was one that had difficulty dreaming. And he said, well, I really want to, be a level 2 coach, and I want to get my own building, and I want to, have like 3 or 4 of my boxers on the U.S. Olympic development team. I said, okay, let's do it. Because that's all that is a function of really time and money. And I can help you because I know how to generate funding for a nonprofit. Plus, I'll support you emotionally because he had some tough days trying to get. Well, anyway, he's got his own building now. So when he came back, he had just got back, I believe, from Golden Globe, and he said, hey, I got thingy. At that time, I had 3 guys on the U.S. Olympic development team as boxers, and I got my own building, which he does, very successful. And he was crying. This is a grown boxer because his dream had come to fruition. And people ask, why do you do it? And I got more stories like that, but I'm not going to give that one. I said, that's why I do it. That's why I do it. Because someone believed in me, and here I am. So many times we don't have fathers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just tell you, my father shot my mom 6 times. Shot her. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Holy.
So I dealt with that. That was my father. Okay. And had to deal with that situation and him being in prison for years. And I forgave him. And again, I said, I have no resentments. We sat down and I've forgiven him.
Sorry, and your mother survived?
Yes, she did. She survived for another 20, 30 years. But when she passed, she still had 2 bullets in her. They took out 3. He hit her 5 times.
My goodness.
Yep.
Wowzers. Okay. Can you tell me when you have someone looking to you to be a mentor, and for you to, look at them and think, okay, there is an opportunity here that I can help them. Is there any, I don't want to use the phrase red flag, but I don't know what else to use. Is it when someone comes up to you, is there any sort of glaring red flag that comes to you where you're like, they're not ready for this yet? Or you jump in like boots and all and try and help?
I don't have literally the right to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I did. And I'll explain why.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the anonymous programs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know which ones I'm talking
Yep.
about. And in there, when, someone reaches out for me to sponsor them, and I've sponsored 30, 40 men, the 12 steps, I can't say no. I can't. I mean, that's internal to me. That is an ethical, and it's also a part of my integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That there will be an alignment of what I say and what I do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to mentoring, it was the same. But, and I will put the caveat to that. Last July, in fact, it was this week, last July, I had 52 volunteer commitments. 52.
How do you keep
23
up with that?
board. I am super organized.
Yeah.
My favorite word is order. I'm
Yeah.
very ordered. Okay. So I had 23 organizations that I was either on a board, on a committee, subcommittee, and a lot of times I'm chairing either the board or I'm leading the committee, subcommittee, task force, or ad hoc group. 23 organizations and 29 individuals. And I track all my hours. One year, I did 1,100 hours volunteering. Okay. Now I own my own business, so I have some capacity time. But the bottom line is I was getting ready to start a new business. I was getting ready to write my book, finish my book, and I was ramping up my speaking career. And I just did not have the capacity hour-wise. So I submitted my resignation to 23 organizations. And I went to all of my mentees and sponsees and say, I will cut it. I'm cutting from 29 to 8.
Yeah.
And today I have 10 and I have one volunteer commitment that I've always wanted to do, which is I have a national Black men's book study. And we only study nonfiction books.
Now, back to Denali FSP. Obviously, you use your past experiences in that organization and for fundraising and grant consulting. How do you find clients? Or the same thing, do they find you?
Well, I've been doing this long enough now. We're at capacity. I'm at capacity. I can't take any more clients.
But why are you at capacity? Are you at capacity because you're so well known and you've got the guest speaking, or is it because you've been so...
No. Yeah. So let's talk about the marketing. And I hate to say it, but I teach a class on marketing.
Okay.
So in the marketing, the number one is my email list. So we're very specific in our company. I've done a slight pivot in that we predominantly write grants for indigenous tribes, for tribal. It's called tribal. And there's 550 tribal organizations in the United States. I have a list of every one of them and their tribal administrator. So I send out emails, and so we probably have 9 or 10 clients that are tribal. And then I do, again, the fundraising consulting. And that one I pulled back somewhat, again, because of the capacity. I'm 62. I have 4 other businesses, and I just don't have the capacity time-wise to take on any more clients, personal clients.
Sure.
Okay. So I've worked with 140 clients personal. Yeah. And then my companies work with others, my staff.
So what are your other companies outside of Denali?
I love talking about that. So I have a company called Ken Miller Speaks, and there's a website, kenmillerspeaks.com. And so I speak, and that talks about what I offer as a speaker. And I talk about what we have is called a keynote. So I talk about resilience in the face of the known and the unknown. So that's one. Oh, and then I have Denali FSP. That's 2. Number 3 is becoming kenbook.com. So I have a company that writes books, and it's literally its own company that has its own marketing. So I write books. I have 3 more books, at least, maybe 4 more coming out before the end of the year.
Wow.
They're going to be great too. Oh my God.
Make sure you send us a copy.
And then I have a property company. So I have property in Ecuador. That's where I go vacation. I love it. And it's like Costa Rica, we would say 30, 40 years ago. So I have property down there. I have a condo and I have a house that I rent out. We built a 6-bedroom home with a swimming pool. Anyway, I rent that out. So that's another company that I do the marketing. And then I have my newest company, which I'm super excited about, which is Evolution. And Evolution is a company that is what I call, again, the congruence of offshore virtual assistants. So I have virtual assistants in Ecuador and in the Philippines that are all trained in AI for the clients. So I have 4 personal VAs that just work for me. And then I have the companies that have clients all over the country that, and this is my key, is that my unique selling proposition, USP, we would call it, is that they're trained in AI. And I mean trained. I won't even put them out in front of a client until they've learned 5 different areas of AI, which is LLMs, large language models,
Yep.
AI image, AI audio, AI video, and automations and agentic. Okay, so I have those, and that company is growing well. I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I love AI. Talk about that.
So,
For
how did you come to the decision to do an offshore?
because the cost is so much less expensive. Someone exposed me to it. If you had talked to me a year ago about a VA or AI, I would be
Yeah.
like, leave me alone. I
Yeah.
don't have the time for it. And then I was like really exposed to AI, and I'm like, this is a no-brainer. And I love IT anyway.
Yep.
And I understand AI, and I trained myself like in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
I trained myself well. Okay. And then VAs, I had a friend of mine, one of my mentees. He's like, oh, I got 4 VAs. I'm like, what? Because I'm thinking they're $25 an hour. And he's like, no, I pay him $4 or $5 an hour. I'm like, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
What do they do for you? Number one. And then so I started with 1, then 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 of them personal. And then I have about 15. I'd have to talk to my person that runs the company, who's one of my VAs. I have about 15 VAs, and I have about 20 to 22 clients we have at this point. We just started in January. And I scale. And what I mean by that, I start small,
Yep.
make sure I can get everything ironed out, then I scale. Whereas there's another model of building business. And if you've been in startup, there's another model. Let's build it. Let's hire 20 people, 100 people, and then they will come.
Yeah.
That's not my style. I'm a start small and scale.
Yeah, okay. So how is a virtual assistant providing AI services? I don't understand how that works.
Oh, easily.
Yeah?
Okay. So a virtual assistant is an individual that usually does repetitive tasks to take them off of your plate. Because remember, my hourly is 300.
Yeah.
I have someone that can do it for 5. Okay. So they can do, let's say, I'll give you an example. So the way I started the company, I had a very specific niche, and that was what we call RFPs to speak. So there's 10,000 speakers, let's say in the United States, that speak for a fee. There are 6,000 to 7,000 conferences that need speakers. But to speak at them, you have to do what is called a request for proposal to speak. And it's a repetitive fill-in information. Well, we have programs in artificial intelligence that will tailor your responses to the RFP. But you still got to push the button, do the upload, respond to the email, any questions. They do. So when I first started, that's not all we did, but that was our predominant. And then there's a lot of repetitive work that's done in social media or marketing. Well, it's great if you know Midjourney or if you know Pika or if
Mm-hmm.
you know Sora. So you can do AI image.
Mm-hmm.
Every person I speak to, I say, go to Insta headshots and get 200 headshots for $69. Everybody I speak to.
Yeah.
And I don't get paid. I don't do what they call affiliate marketing or
Yep.
associate marketing, whatever they call it. I don't do that. So anyway, so they're trained in that. They're trained in the video. They're trained in the LLMs because you really got to know Chat GPT or
You
Grok
do.
or Claude. I know all of them.
Yeah.
And so what my job is to train, because you get a VA that can do repetitive, but how much value added if they don't know AI? and
Yeah.
no AI minded. So hopefully I answered your question. It's,
Definitely.
man, if you have a business, this is just my belief. If you have a business and you don't have, and I'm not saying go come to me. There's 1,000 companies out there.
What's
The
your business called that does this?
Evolution, AIVA solution, but take out the so part.
Oh yeah,
Lution, LUTION.com. You can look it up. It's on the web. I have a website, all that.
I'm on it.
Yeah. You see it?
Got it. I got you. I found you.
Okay. Yeah. You can probably see it.
Okay.
And so
Amazing.
it's anyway, let me just say one other thing that makes my company different
Mm-hmm.
because I had looked at it I'll be real frank, I didn't do this or stay in this business to make money in the evolution. I do fine in my other businesses. I do fine. You know my numbers are. But I love that. So I talked to one of my Philippines person, my first VA, and I said, "Hey, I'm paying you $5 an hour. Is this good?" To me, that's like nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said, "Ken, if I can make 225, I'm good." And that's what the pricing is in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So we have 420 people that want to work for my company,
Yeah.
VAs. I just don't have the clients and I don't want to grow too fast. I
Yeah.
don't, because I don't have the structure in place and I had to get all the legal. But let me just say the other unique selling proposition, which I love about my company, is that you can engage for 10 hours or 20 hours or 40 in buckets of 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So I always tell people start off with 10 hours. It's $70 a week,
Yeah.
US. Okay. There's an onboarding fee, one time 500.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I paid 700 when I started, and then it's $7 an hour.
Yeah.
I can't go to dinner with my wife for less than 70, at least
No.
where I live.
No.
Period.
Yeah, no,
We
that's
couldn't hear either.
oh yeah.
So what?
I don't know Australia, so I don't know what your dollars
It's
are like.
much of a muchness. It's much of a
Okay.
muchness. What do you find is probably one of your bigger pain points, I guess, with having an offshore?
Well, first of all, so there's pain points, and I sort of learned a lot about the history of offshore VAs. That's what they call offshore VAs.
Yeah.
The pain points is number one, the biggest country by far is the Philippines. Why is that? They speak English and they're college educated.
Mm-hmm.
All of my VAs have a college degree, $5 an hour. All of them. They're either in college or they have college. But the biggest impediment is the hour difference, is the time difference.
Mm.
So the four that work for me, they actually are working nights. They start at like 10 o'clock at night to be on the same schedule
Yeah.
that I'm on. Because I start at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm an early person.
Mm-hmm.
This is like my last meeting of the evening. It's like 7 o'clock here, PM,
Yeah.
which is fine. And I'll stay on as long as you'll have me. But so that's the number one biggest impediment. And number two, we're pretty good. I have a really good crew, but you have to sometimes work through a few people, is that it's hard to track what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
and to make sure that they're meeting the client's needs. And every once in a while, I've had, especially in the beginning, because again, I had to build this from the beginning. I probably had 2 or 3 clients that had concerns as to the performance of their VAs because they could be working for another company or
Yeah.
5 other VA companies.
Yeah.
But I have a person that handles all the VAs and he does very, very well in tracking them. And then I have another VA that tracks all their training
Mm-hmm.
because they have a whole course they have to go through and they have to get to a certain point before we'll even put them out. And then they can do some more advanced, especially in the agentic or automations. They can take their time on that.
Okay. Amazing.
And are they work from home, or do you have an office building that they go to? How do you set that up?
Everybody works from home. And this is the beautiful thing. I love talking to you guys. I love helping people.
Yeah.
So my 4 VAs came to me. These are the ones that work for me personally. Well, one came to me first when I said, Ken, I'm having problems, with my computer because I have an older laptop, da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, how much your laptop? And they're like about 1,000, for what I want to get. Okay. So I got them all on the call, all four of them. I said, I'll buy each and every one of you guys a laptop. Just let me know which one it is. And I spent $1,000 each and bought
Yep.
them a laptop so
Yeah.
that they can be, I want them to be successful. Because in the end, I want you to be able to support your family or your loved ones or yourself, whatever your dreams are,
Mm.
as an individual. And they're thrilled. I give them bonuses. They're thrilled, because I'm a good boss. I'm an easy boss. And, and
Right.
That's amazing. No, and do you do you want to grow it? How's it gonna
yes,
go?
yes and no. Yes and no, because I want to retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I made a commitment. So let me tell you about my commitments. I made a commitment early this year that I would retire my wife first.
Hmm.
And she's gone from
Hang on,
6
sorry, say it
clients
again.
now.
You retire your wife?
We got to retire her first
Okay, okay.
because the children and the grandchildren are really her children and the grandchildren. She wants to spend more time with family
Yeah.
and church. And I'm like, cool. So my job is to create enough income and also take care of all their expenses because I'll just say it. I'm debt free. Debt free. I
Hmm.
have no debt, no home debt, no house debt. We're debt free.
Sure.
So I know that going into each month, and then I have an income usually around 40 to 60,000 a month take home. And I know that we can handle, but what I'm trying to do is get enough in our savings and retirement that you can, you're done. You're done. And we can just live off of, we have some, obviously with the property, we have some residual. And then at some point, what I'd like to do is, so what I've already made decisions. Denali, we're going to give to the employees. We're just going to give them the company. You already, got the clients,
Yeah.
and I had to make sure they can sort of do the billing and all that, but
Yeah.
we'll give them the company. And then the other companies, what I'm hoping to do, even with Evolution, I'm going to build it to a certain extent. And I don't know what I'm going to tap out at, maybe 100 clients, 70, 80 VAs, because again, some of the clients are just 10 hours. So VAs, what I try to do is make sure they have 40 hours total. They
Hmm.
may have a 10 and a 30 or a 10 and two and a 20. And I'm like, if you can do the work and you want to do 2 20s and a 10, it really is like overtime for you. No problem. But anyway, what I want to do is probably, I have a lead person in the Philippines, and I'd love to set him up and give him the company.
It's
And I
amazing.
won't charge him. I'll just give
Yeah,
it to him.
you're a good man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
My word.
I am.
And
You just see what I say. Let me just say something
yeah,
because
sure.
I say this. So I I used to identify as a lot of things, and the term I use for myself today, I'm a kind and gentle man. Because I went to a meeting, an anonymous meeting, and when I was in the middle of my addiction, because I struggled, I tried, okay? And this man said in front of, 40, 50 people, he said, I'm a kind and gentle man today. And I almost fell out of my chair because I'm on the streets where there's a lot of violence and a lot
Yeah.
of activity. And I was not a kind and gentle man. And I said to myself, this was 1996. One day I'd be able to say that. And I am today a kind and gentle man. And I identify that. I have no problems.
You know what? I want to ask you more questions about behavior and business and motivation and AI and virtual assistants, but we are running out of time.
Problem.
Um, would you like,
I hate that we're running out of time.
yeah.
I could sit here all day and talk to you, Ken.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's
Actually, I
I would
could
love
just
to.
sit here all day and listen to you. I
listen.
feel like this is the least amount of talking I've ever done. And I've just been like, just staring at you.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's been amazing.
I'm in awe of you. Can you give us just one more rundown of everything, like just from the top, what you
Yep.
want to say in summary to all our listeners?
Sure. So, in summary, what I want to say is because it's more about the listeners. It's not so much about me, but I want the listeners to hear that you have value, that the solution is intrinsic to you. there are answers in you. There is a sense that if you do the work, if you do the study, and if you do or bring in individuals that can be a counselor, mentor, whatever, coach, whatever, that there can be success. What I would say to you in summation is identify your goal. Identify the goal. And then put together the plan with counsel, and then do the steps, do the work. And in times of stress or trouble or challenge, remember the goal. And remember that you are valued. Whether you believe in a God or a spiritual emphasis, you are valued. You are a child of God. And I believe in you. I'd say this to people all the time. I believe in you. And if there's anything I can do, I'm going to type. My email is ken@denalifsp.com. Email me and I answer all my email. All. I'm on WhatsApp. Ken Miller. I don't know what my WhatsApp number is, but it's Ken Miller. I give it out. I have one phone number I've had for 15 years. 907-250-8488. Remember something I said? I have no fear.
Yeah.
And if there's anything I can do, so I'll pick up any call. Okay. And I know we're going on time, but the thing I want everyone to think about, what is my self-talk? What is my self? I don't really care what your external world is saying to you, but what is my self-talk? And I want to leave you with one other question or thought. How do I take a compliment? How do I take a compliment? Because I know more about your self-esteem by how you take a compliment than by how you take a criticism.
Not well.
And I want to leave you with one.
I can't take a compliment.
Yeah, neither.
Yeah.
So the last word I want to leave everyone with is love. I say this to men all the time. I love you. I love you. And all the listeners, I love you. There's someone I am so much full of gratitude that I have love for you. And I believe in you. I haven't even met you. But if you want to reach out, I'm done.
Well, Ken, I love you too. And
thank you.
So much love here.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I want to get you back on again.
100%. I would love to have you back on again, Ken, and dive into probably exactly the same thing, because I want to listen to it again.
Yes, please.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, Ken. And we will definitely 100% have you back on again as soon as we possibly can make it happen.
Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. To help support our continued mission to provide free, best-in-class advice from the world's most compelling business leaders, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss an episode. See you next Thursday. Thanks for tuning in to The Business Game. If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn to stay connected. A big thank you to our major sponsor, TrackTrack, for powering today's episode, and join us again on the next episode of The Business Game, a podcast that moves the needle.